and called it Dopamania. I much prefer I much prefer that title. But anyways, the molecule of more, chase, pursue. Dopamine's chase for mother. Because you have no mother. You're in pain. You got to get mother. Chase. The chemistry of chase means you got to get mother. You're in pain. You'd perish with no mother. The baby would perish with no mother. Baby's in peril. He's going to perish. He's in pain. He's in panic. He's in fear. Dopamine. Where's mother? Where are you, man? Chase, chase for mother. The chemistry is dopamine. But wait a minute. You're not in the nursery. You spend your whole life chasing your mother, but you're not in the nursery. But that dopamine is released by the survival brain. So all you got to do is look for mirages of mother. The mirage doesn't work. So the greed is the mirage of mother. Now, yes, in the pursuit mode, with the fantasy mode, if you think something might be mother, that can trigger when you had mother, even if it was just in the uterus. When you can trigger up the good old days, you enter the joke, we spend the first 9 months of life trying to get out of the womb, and the rest of our lives trying to get back in. Interesting joke like that. So when you chase for something, the cookie, the wine, the ice cream, the material, the things you buy, that's meant to trigger the memory when you were one with the mother, something symbolic mother. So this is done by what's called conscious or unconscious associations with mother. Mother's supposed to be sweet and warm and material. That's the money, the material, the bus of shopping is big. It's supposed to be, smooth, might be yogurt, whatever it is, right? The unconscious thinks differently. So you want a mother's sweetness and soothing. So it might be ice cream's a common one, right? But anyways, when you're chasing for a symbol mother, all you're really doing, mainly doing from a fantasy point of view, is using that thing as an ATM, addictive trigger mechanism. You want to trigger the time when you were with mother. If you can bring up the good old days in the uterus when you were blissfully one with the mother, then from bringing up those old memories, fantasies, memories, good old days, fantasies, it can release in the brain oxytocin, serotonin for a blipping moment, for a moment. When you trigger up the old oxytocin, serotonin from the good old days, the pain you're feeling pushes back. Now that's just a blipping thing. The pain comes back. You want to get out of the pain. Chase for something to trigger the good old days, which brings up the fantasies, which brings up the good chemistry, which pushes back the pain. Okay, pain comes back. Dopamine chase for something to remind you of mother, to bring up the fantasies of when you had mother, which then in turn brings up the chemistry, the good chemistry feelings of when you had mother, i.e. oxytocin, serotonin, which then pushes back the pain.